If you saw the first video I did with the GS Mini, you know that Taylor Guitars has partnered with Guitars for Vets to release 2 very cool guitars. We're going to get into that today and also find out a little bit more about what Guitars for Vets is doing and how it impacts lives, so stick around. Hey, you're watching Alamo Music TV. My name is Chris McKee. I'm here today with
Nigel Fischer.
And we're here with Alamo Music in San Antonio, Texas. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Turn on notifications, like our videos. If you want to support the channel, visit our spring store link below for custom swag and check out our podcast, The Fretboard Confessional, wherever you get your podcast. This will be on YouTube as well as in podcast form. So if you're not watching, hopefully you're listening and paying attention to traffic laws. So,
yeah, that's key, right?
That's key, right? Yeah, absolutely. So Nigel, thanks for showing up. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. So this was cool, exciting kind of collab that Taylor talked to us about. And it was fun playing the Camo GS Mini. I lost it a few times in the studio.
But it's like hidden in the corner and you can't find it again.
Disappears for a moment. But at the time I didn't have this guitar, which we'll show off. This is the new 814 CE Guitars for Vets edition. And you were telling me a little story about some of the initial building of this and the prototyping that you were part of.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. So, if you want to share a little bit more of that, you can. But very cool guitar for those of you who either have served or are serving. I know there's a lot on our channel that do or did. This is a very cool guitar. They're both very great, and like we said in the previous review, a lot of this both honors those who go through the program, those who have fought, those who go through these programs because of the things that they've dealt with in fighting for our freedom, and part of the proceeds goes back to Guitars for Vets. So tell us a little bit about the program and kind of your involvement with it and how you got involved with this with Taylor.
Yeah, this is such a cool opportunity, and thanks for having me here today. Really excited to talk about these guitars and our program. We are a nationwide nonprofit. We serve veterans of all eras. And people ask me all the time, Nigel, I think this is just for younger folks. It's kind of more of a statement, but they're almost asking if they can go through. And we've had veterans in their 90s that have come through our program. So we are capable of adapting our lessons to each and every veteran, no matter what they face.
So not those that just saw recent service action or anything like that.
That's correct.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, and I think it's a neat component of what we really do. Because Guitars for Vets is the name. Mm-hmm. We do give guitars to the veterans that graduate from our program. But really what we do is build community. Mm-hmm. So opportunities like this to connect with folks that just have a love of music. And so there's an opportunity for us to showcase what veterans can do when they get back into communities post-service and they're thriving and happy and healthy and connected with everyone around them. They contribute amazing things to society. Yeah. And so the vehicle or the tool that we use is guitar. And so that's what I think, unites us in this moment, and folks that are listening or watching is they love guitars. And so by showcasing our organization through the beautiful artistry at Taylor, it gives us yet another connecting point in our communities to share really what is a story of hope. Yeah. That's what our organization's all about.
That's awesome. So for those who are getting involved in the program, most of them weren't musicians or didn't play guitar prior to joining. Is that correct?
That's correct. Like in my case, I'm a graduate of the program. I live in Boerne, so not too far from San Antonio proper. So, San Antonio is my home chapter. It's always going to be near and dear to my heart. But at the same time, I was embarking on the lessons, separate, total effort. Guitars for Vets was looking for someone with a particular skill set. Somehow they found me. Not sure how that happened, but it's been a great ride for the last 2 years. And so, as I went through the lessons, it was really powerful for me. Mm-hmm. And, it gave me an opportunity to grow and thrive with guitar. Now, I did have a little bit of musical background to your question. Of growing up, I played drums, in the junior high school marching band, right? So I had some connection with music, and of course, I've been a lifelong listener of music, as I think pretty much every human is, which is yet another cool component of what we do, where we talk about how music influences mood. And that's where I think each and every human can instantly understand the power of what it is that we do in their own way. And that is everybody, if I said, hey, when you get done with your work week, whatever that is, and you want to just change that mood and get into a really cool mood because you've got an exciting weekend or you're just happy to be done with your work week.
Yeah.
Everybody knows instantly that go-to song.
Yeah.
That they put on the radio or that they've got on one of their playlists that, they can tune up right away, and it changes their mood.
Mm-hmm.
No differently, we teach veterans how to connect deeply with the instrument. Now it's an even more impactful thing because they can channel their feelings through the guitar. And so we say music speaks where words fail.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It's really true.
So talk a little bit more, if you can, about the power that, like, the catharsis that guitar playing has in that. Because I think there's two components going on here, I think, and we can get into it, but I think it's important that music is this point of kind of therapy that you can have. And I said this in our previous review when I was playing that guitar. I suffer from this thing where my mind goes a million miles a minute all of the time, and I have 40 things. and when I play guitar, all of the noise is quieted, and it's the one thing I'm thinking about. But I think there's an interesting component with what Guitars for Vets is doing, because it's not just you by yourself in your room with your guitar. So let's talk about the guitar first. What do you say? I mean, yes, it puts you in a good mood, but what else does it do for people that are starting to learn an instrument like this?
Yeah,
particularly that dealt with PTSD and things.
Yeah, and you already hit on it, because I think it's whether it's a diagnosed condition or not, all of us, I think, feel bombarded these days with a lot of distractions.
Yeah.
And you nailed it. When you're playing guitar and you're getting into, okay, how am I feeling about this moment? What's the sound I want to make? And I'm figuring out my finger placement on the chords, and I start making music, it has this ability to just pull all of your attention into your fingertips, into the strings, and you're just like, you're one with the guitar, right? And I know that sounds really hokey, but anyone that's had the opportunity to play a guitar or another instrument, they know that feeling of just that total consumption of thought. And it's like mind to body and spirit, really.
Did you ever see that movie with Kevin Costner, For Love of the Game?
Yes.
Where he plays a pitcher, and there's that moment where he's hearing the crowd, and he silences it. That's kind of how it feels for me when I'm just focused. It's just like everything else, it's gone.
Yeah.
Now
imagine if we can harness that same ability for someone that has a lot of invasive thoughts. Mm-hmm. Or they wake up in the middle of the night with, maybe it's a night terror. They have a very terrible dream or some sort of flashback type moment. It can be very calming to know that this is right nearby. You can reach over, grab it, go to another room of the house so you don't disrupt your family if you live with other folks. Regardless of what the scenario is, this is extremely portable. It's accessible in the moment. Mm-hmm. And while I love some of the other great organizations that are out there, great friends of mine help run some of those organizations where they teach things like fly fishing. I love fly fishing.
Yeah.
But at 2 a.m, I can't pick up and go fly fishing.
Get your waders and get out there.
Exactly, right? It's not super accessible, so we see it as a family of different resources and different techniques that can aid a veteran who may be struggling through some of those issues related to their service. And so, like for me, even if it's just I wake up to get a drink of water, and maybe now my brain just starts moving in a direction that doesn't want to go back to sleep, even if it's not bad, I can go and calm myself a little bit and just change my mood.
It's funny. We've said this on the channel. I love guitar in general, but I find acoustic guitar to be such a casual instrument that's real nice because you don't need electricity. You don't need anything. You just need the guitar, and you can do it anywhere, which is really nice about it. Yeah. But the other thing that you mentioned is the importance of community, and it's something I hadn't considered before. When thinking about Guitars for Vets, I really was thinking about just the instrument learning and coping portion of it. Yeah. But it sounds like it's really big, not on just reintegration, but also just building community when we might otherwise be prone to isolation.
Yes. And the way that works, or at least in my eyes, as I'm a 20-year Marine Corps veteran. I served on active duty for 20 years. Traumatic brain injury when I was wounded by an IED in Iraq. Struggled with PTSD, even though it was undiagnosed, for a long time. And one of the things that was really challenging for me after I retired from the Marine Corps was finding that connection again, because I go, all right, I'm dealing with these things that make sometimes conversations difficult. If there's a topic that comes up that maybe I don't care for a lot. it can make me start to get a little bit grouchy, right?
Yeah.
And I was trying to find, like, how do I stop doing that? Like, I never had any outbursts at anyone or anything like that, right? It wasn't an aggressive, violent thing. It was just unpleasant for me to be in conversations where it would kind of like change my focus altogether because of the topics at hand. And how do I change that? Well, the obvious answer is I want to be around other veterans because they can understand that that's happening. And if I say it, they're not going to look at me like I'm a weirdo.
Yeah.
So how do we get to a place where two random folks, one civilian and one former military or a veteran, are able to have that conversation? And that's where there's such a beautiful thing with our organization through the volunteers that help support the lessons that we provide to veterans. And many of those folks have never served. While we have quite a few that graduate from the program and later go on to volunteer,
Yeah.
and there are veterans that choose to volunteer with us, we have a lot of civilians that teach lessons. And so now I've got someone that we're focused on this. We're sitting here just like this, and you're showing me, okay, put your fingers here and this sort of thing. Well, after 10 weeks of us working together, we've developed an interpersonal bond. And now you go, hey, Nigel, I don't know if I ever shared this with you about myself, but I never served in the military. And I go, well, okay, I don't care. Like, you were patient with me all throughout these lessons. You taught me these lessons, and you and I have developed this bond. And now I feel like you know me, you understand me, because you saw me going through maybe, hey, I'm not going to lie, week 3 to week 4, it's almost universal. A lot of veterans raise their hand and say, I'm struggling here. And we can talk about why that is, but we get them through it. But once we go through some of those shared struggles together and you help lead me through that, now I just feel really bonded with you. And then now I go, well, hang on a second. I can communicate with folks that haven't necessarily been through what I've been through. And so it's not a direct therapy, but it has a very therapeutic outcome.
Nice. Why do you think that is in that particular period of time? Is it where people are feeling stretched and it's getting uncomfortable?
A little bit. So in the military, which, I'm sure there's a lot of folks in the audience that can appreciate this just in general in life, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves because the entire focus of our role as a teammate in the military is mission accomplishment. We set very high standards of it's either mission accomplished or mission failed. And so there's a very fine line between the two. And so we know that mission accomplishment is so paramount in our military mind that sometimes when we're learning something that is casual, like you mentioned, like acoustic guitar, and just trying to sit down and learn how to manipulate these strings, I start putting a lot of pressure on myself. So week 1, it's cool. New car smell. Guitar is amazing. I have it in my hands finally. We're sitting down to get started on lessons. This is a really neat experience. Week 2, okay, now we're going to dive into a couple more chords. And I'm like, all right, it's progressing. I'm digging this. Week 3, all right, Nigel, I want you to go D to G transition, and then I want you to go from G to C. And I go, okay, wow, the pressure's starting to mount because my fingers haven't figured out the correct placement.
And you're kind of feeling, I have to do this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so when we get to that moment, it's all about patience. And sometimes that's patience with ourselves, patience in the process, because sometimes we just want to race ahead and be Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
that's insightful. So how long, tell me about the program to kind of start to finish. I know there's a graduation moment because I've dealt with both students and I've dealt with spouses of students who were buying guitars as like gifts or,
Awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But how long is a typical program when people get started?
We offer 10 weeks of lessons. The lessons are around about 1 hour each. And we don't have a set hardcore curriculum. It's not like everybody learns the same song and they have to play it at tempo by the end of the 10 weeks. The goal is to get the veteran comfortable enough with how the guitar works, the chord structure, the finger placement for the various chords, and then if they are able to then make those transitions, is to get them to a place where they're playing by the end of 10 weeks. So that can vary a little bit week by week depending on how much pressure I'm putting on myself in week 3 as an example. And in my case, my instructor, great guy by the name of Jerry, He goes, hey, you know what? We're going to throw the plan I had for you out the window for a week, and I want you to go home. And all I want you to do is do this pentatonic scale and then derive something of your own from that scale. He goes, that's it.
Yeah.
And so we're not going to focus on Folsom Prison Blues or whatever we were learning at the time. He goes, just I want you to focus on noodling around with that pentatonic scale and see what makes the most sense.
How does that kind of freedom, because guitar for me is one of the, I've learned a bunch of different instruments, and there can be a lot of structure, even like around classical guitar, but I think most of the time the way we approach the guitar, there's less structure, which seems very like, a counterbalance to the structure from the military. How freeing does that feel, and how uncomfortable is it at the same time?
It is absolutely both, almost 100% simultaneously, and that's the crazy thing is it's very liberating to be able to kind of color outside the lines and go, wait a second. Once we are comfortable and we can like pause for a moment and go, there's no structure here. We can take this wherever we want to in a meaningful way. That it feels so good to have someone remind you of that, and they're doing it in a kind way, like a friend, like, hey man, like it's cool, like we're just gonna enjoy this moment together. It really feels good because we forget that sometimes, because we revert back to what is so deeply ingrained from military service, and that is that structure, that checklist mentality. So it can be greatly rewarding, but it can be excruciating all at the same time, because it's like, no, tell me how we're getting from A to B. If you can't tell me on the map where we're headed and how we're going to get there, it can cause a little bit of anxiety because we're used to those plans. But then that, that kind, compassionate, hey man, it's all right. I'm going to get you there. Just trust me. And it's like, okay, I do. I trust you.
You've stayed active, obviously. You're with the organization. When people typically graduate the program, what happens after that? Are there like get-togethers, jam sessions, that kind of thing?
Yes, and this is one of my absolute favorite components of what it is that we do. The goal isn't just to teach a veteran how to play the guitar and then send them off to live the rest of their life. Music's meant to be shared. It's meant to be communal. So the very natural progression is somebody graduates from the program and they go, well, where are the other people like me that have just done this? And we go, oh, so glad you asked. Hey, every third Thursday of the month, we have a jam session here in San Antonio, or whatever the case is, chapter by chapter. And then they go, oh, that's awesome. How do I get included? Hey, I'll add you to the email list. We'll let you know the time, place, all that good stuff. And now it becomes a supportive environment where folks that maybe graduated 3 years ago are there. And they're welcoming with open arms someone who's recently graduated. And so it's this moment of like, wow, that wasn't the end. Like we think of graduations as like the end of something. It is. It's the end of the formal learning. But now we get to engage in this awesome just communal learning of peer support where we hang out together and maybe we say, hey, by this time next month, let's all try to at least have the chords down for whatever song folks agree to. Maybe you've got 20 veterans in the room and they go, hey, I'd really like to learn this. The holidays are coming up. Can we learn a holiday song? And everybody goes, oh, that's a great idea. And then we're off to the races.
Well, and it really always is learning like that. I mean, one of the things I've always said is if you just get around better musicians, you become a better musician.
Yes.
And so, playing with other people, you always are learning. It's almost like osmosis a bit, it's pretty great.
I love it. Yeah.
So you're part of the San Antonio chapter, and we're Military City, USA. How many chapters across the U.S. Is there for Guitars for Vets?
Yeah, we've got just over 160. We're growing every year. Wow. We've been around since 2007, so 17 years of continuous service to veterans across the nation. Granted, we started with just one chapter, and then we've grown since. And within those chapters, like in an area like San Antonio, we've got multiple different practice locations. So just think of that as a service location, no different than a grocery store that has numerous different locations. Because, shoot, if I'm on the west side of town, I don't want to have to drive all the way across in traffic to the east side to be able to go access this opportunity. So although they operate under the same umbrella for the metropolitan area, they're physically the same and just different locations. So over 300 of those nationwide.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So someone in pretty much most parts of the country should be able to find a chapter in some proximity to them.
Yes, and for those that we understand, veteran community especially, but times are tough, that come and go in our country, and folks don't always have reliable transportation, or they're reliant on public transit.
Yeah.
And some folks may be homebound based on a condition that they have, and so we offer an alternative for those that may not be near a chapter.
Yeah.
They may have one of those other categories that they're a part of, and they just go, I just physically can't access you. And we go, well, that's okay. We've got a synchronous online learning opportunity. We call it our cyber chapter. And so we have some great folks that volunteer there as well, and they deliver lessons via Zoom. And
Great.
It mirrors the exact same structure as in-person lessons. It's just now we're finding another unique way to deliver that same joy for folks that couldn't otherwise join in person.
That's awesome. Technology is great.
It
I mean,
is,
that's
yeah.
how we've done this, right?
Exactly,
People all
yeah.
over the world get to watch our videos. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the partnership with Taylor. It's, I would think, kind of a pretty big deal to get a manufacturer of this size and caliber to partner, not only to do something like this, but I think this really helps to spread your message to a lot of people that maybe had only heard about a little bit or not at all. How did that come about?
Yeah, I've got to give credit to a few great folks. So it was born from some folks at Taylor that were really interested in giving back to community. And about the same time, some folks that are really in touch with the guitar world are familiar with original grain watches.
Yes.
And so one of the co-founders, the Beltran brothers, that founded Original Grain Watches, Andrew, one of the brothers, is a former Marine. And at the time that he was on active duty in the Marine Corps, he and his brother were formulating the ideas for Original Grain, and it was fully based on a sustainable business model to try to take components for the watches from scrap that was, high quality materials, but that would otherwise go to waste.
Right.
And so the folks at Taylor that were working on those programs that got in touch with Original Grain, and they started talking, and then they go, hey, we really want to help give back to the veteran community as well through these efforts. And so next thing you know, we've got this involvement 3 ways between Original Grain, Taylor, and Guitars for Vets. And we just had the other day a really cool annual event that we do in partnership with both of those sponsors. And we were able to give 21 guitars just like this to 21 recent graduates between Houston and San Antonio chapters.
Yeah.
And we did it right up the road in New Braunfels. And
that's awesome.
It was a really neat event. And so seeing the lifespan of that relationship morph, we've done 4 of those events now. We've been in Nashville, San Diego, and then recently here. And it was really neat to see the changes that have come about through the course of this relationship growing, because there was another organization that was involved totally separate from the veteran community. And they said, you know what, we just really want all of this effort to really shine on veterans. And so they backed away from the relationship voluntarily. And next thing you know, now it's just dedicated to Guitars for Vets, where we get proceeds from some of the Taylor branded Original Grain watches.
Yeah.
Proceeds from these unique G4V branded guitars, both the 814, the Camo GS Mini, and also the Americana GS Mini. So
when you give these away, did you let them know if they go camping they should tie orange onto it or something so that they don't lose it?
Yeah. We said make sure air tag or something, right? Like, because otherwise,
I don't see it anywhere.
You may not find it again. It's going to disappear into the woods.
So if someone wants to get involved, either they've served and they like to get involved, or they want to volunteer, military or not, what should they do?
Yeah, they can come to our website, which is simply guitars with an S. You can put the number 4 in there, and then vets.org.
Okay.
Come on over to the website, and there's an area that is for volunteers, and there's ways to get involved there. So we've got folks all over the country that say, hey, I want one of those chapters near me. You can get in touch with us via the website. And they say, this is just such a great idea. I'd love to be a part of that and volunteer my time. I don't know that I want to take on, the administrative aspect
Sure.
of starting a chapter, but I would love to dedicate, my talents, if I'm a guitar player, to teaching a veteran. Those aren't the only roles that we have, though, because you can imagine in today's age of technology, when we're posting on social media and that sort of thing, if I'm a great guitar instructor, I may not necessarily be great with social media. They're not necessarily connected, right? And so then we go, well, I don't know how to teach, but I sure know how to put together some cool social media. So let me go join this chapter and help administer their Facebook page, as an example. Folks, that are in a community and they go, I don't have either one of those, but I really desperately want to get some resources connected to help support the program. And maybe I'm a business person and I work with a Rotary Club or Chamber of Commerce. Who knows? I've got a network and I can bring about resources to help give back to the program.
Gotcha.
So we welcome all of those opportunities. It's just, I guess, creativity of the mind is the limit for what makes sense. So if somebody's interested in helping and they go, none of those apply to me, but something else does, we'd love to hear about it.
Just reach out.
Just get in touch.
Awesome. And then same thing if you're on the vet side and you want to join one of those chapters, all that information is there as well.
It is, yeah. Anyone who would like to join, there's information for veterans. Something I'd like to share about the program that is a really proud accomplishment over the last 2 years for us is having started in 2007, we began with just 6-string acoustic. And we realized that that's not always the desired instrument for a veteran, or maybe just based on some of the stuff I shared with you before we were doing the actual interview together, was some of the physical challenges I face. And so no matter what those are, there may be a different style instrument that's a little bit more appropriate. So over the last 2 years, we've incorporated bass guitar, and we've also incorporated electric guitar. So we've got the opportunity to offer a variety of instruments to whatever suits the veteran the best, or maybe just their desires.
Cool.
And then also we started a follow-on songwriting program. We call it Your Chords and the Truth. And so it's, one of those things you learn how to play the instrument. You start to get together in the community, as we were talking about earlier. And then a lot of folks say, hey, I really have these feelings and words on my heart that I want to get out. I just don't know where to start.
Yeah.
And we go, okay, cool. We understand that. And because you've already come through the instrument lessons and you know how to play, we're going to help you add your own words to that. And so therein lies Your Chords and the Truth. And we support that with some really awesome folks across, Texas country artists here. We've got folks in Nashville that work with us. And it's been a really successful program in its first year. So
that's cool. That's very exciting. Well, there's a lot of very great things that are going on with that. Just a reminder for everyone who's watching, if you didn't see the first video, this was what I had, and it's a Camo GS Mini. Portion of the proceeds go to Guitars for Vets with that purchase, or this, which is the exciting one that I got to hold today, and Cooper recorded. So as we go out of the video, we'll play that for you. But this is a special 814 CE. It's a black top version. It's got wild grain or exotic grain rosewood koa binding, which I love because it always looks like the guitar is on fire from a distance. Abalone, but also the very cool 5-star motif up the fingerboard and then on the headstock, which a lot of people like. I have a lot of vets that I work with that were excited to see that on the guitar, for sure. Yeah. One thing that I will tease for you is that this guitar is notable also for being the first one to feature a new pickup system called the Claria from Taylor, and that's all I'm going to tell you about it because they're going to come out with some more information. But this is the first guitar we've seen that has this pickup, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and some of the unique details that really caught my attention, I didn't realize Taylor was going to do this, but on the serial number label inside, the manufacturer's label inside the sound hole, they've got Guitars for Vets logo right next to the Taylor logo, which was a pretty cool, tip of the cap to our organization that'll stick with someone who's really interested in one of these guitars. And on that particular model, when you look at the bridge pins, just seeing that little bit of mother of pearl in there, it didn't catch my eye right off, but then as I was inspecting the guitar and just really getting to know it, I found that and I was like, wow, that's a really cool touch, and it just, that level of elegance is unparalleled.
In blue, because usually be abalone or silvery looking, but no, it's blue. So beautiful guitar and a really fantastic, worthwhile organization that you guys have going on. I continually meet people that have gone through it, and I've met a few of the instructors that work through it, and it's pretty phenomenal. The community, and I think the outlet that a lot of people have thanks to Guitars for Vets.
Yeah, we're really grateful for your support and giving us the opportunity to talk about these awesome Taylor guitars, the relationship, and our organization.
And I want to give some instruction for everyone who's watching this, because you want to go to guitarsforvets.org if you want to get involved either through volunteer, like you discussed, in a myriad of ways, or if you want to find a chapter and get started yourself. I know when we launched this video, people already reached out to me about, I want to get some of those because they served and they want to give them as gifts.
Awesome.
So I think that's a real worthwhile endeavor, and we want to work with you to make sure that happens. So just reach out to us through our website. Go to alamomusic.com and you can find out all of the information. If you just want to get one of these for yourself because you served and you think they're cool, you can do that. But if you also say, I want to get 10 GS Minis like that to give to veterans that I know, then we can work with you on that too. So make sure you do that. So anything else that people should know?
Just that we're so grateful for the support, and whether it's this resource or another, we encourage veterans that just need that connection to get out and challenge themselves to find something new. It is possible, and it will be a positive, life-changing experience. So while we would hope that you would get connected with guitar through us, that's not what it's about. It's the most important thing is that we all find that thriving opportunity in life. And so whether it's like I said, fly fishing, getting out, exercising, artistic, creative things in another vein like visual arts, we just encourage veterans to take those opportunities, explore something different, challenge yourself, and I think you'll be grateful that you did, because I know in my life it's made a very positive impact.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Appreciate you, Nigel.
Thank you.
So we're going to take you out, just taking a listen to the wonderful stylings of Cooper Greenberg playing this guitar. Again, if you want more information, just visit us on our website, and we'll see you next time.